Welcome back to What's a 9 to 5, episode 5. I am your host, Rogue Mero, along with my co-host, Cece Blue, NYC, with our wonderful guest, Ashlee Muhammed. Miss Ashlee Muhammed. Other people might know her on Instagram as Eyeconic Ash.
Hey, guys.
Now, homegirl, let me say, homegirl is, she wears a hat.
Many hats.
Many hats. I said she doesn't even wear a hat. She wears many hats. So she is a mother of 4.
Yes, ma'am.
She has multiple companies.
Yes,
right now, what are
ma'am.
we on? 3? 4?
We are on we're teetering on the 4th, yes.
Right. And you just came out with your latest brand, which is your kids brand.
My boys, yes. So my twins, Jetson and Nova, just came out with their line 303
Amazing.
Pear
So
Street.
she just did that and she just had a baby like 3 months ago.
He's almost 6 months
Superwoman.
ago. He's almost 6 months, yeah.
So she's doing that. She's attained lots of collaborations. I don't know if any of you may know or some of you may know. MZ Wallace and her did a project recently on a
Yes,
bag, which is
yes.
right here.
Yes. This is actually our
second.
third drop.
Oh, it
yeah. This is our third drop. So we did 2 drops in 2020 of the fanny pack. And then this last drop that we just did on Valentine's Day was a full collection. So it was a tote, it was a catch-all, like basically like a toiletry bag.
Yeah.
And then a huge like gym travel bag. So
Well,
Yeah.
how did you, first off, how?
Yes. What the how
Because I'm not
is?
going to say, I don't got no kids. And I'm like
What am I going to
running around with my head cut off because I'm the person that handles and does everything for everything that I'm building. You got
Right.
4 kids, a
Right.
husband,
yes.
a household,
Yeah.
multiple brands.
Right.
How?
I mean, you know what? I guess the best way to say is that there is no real way to juggle it all.
Mm-hmm.
I am beyond grateful, and I thank my husband all the time for being as supportive as he is, because I absolutely would not be able to do it without him. But other than that, I just think my drive and wanting to show my children that it is possible, especially for a woman, and then especially for a Black woman. I don't ever want to teach them that children stop you from doing anything. I always want to show them that if anything, it motivates you to do more. And so that's just always the example that I want to set for my babies. And when they ask me all the time, like when they see me getting dressed, they'll tell you like, mommy's going to work. Even if I'm not, I could be going to the store and they're like, mommy's going to work. And I'm like, that's
They're
right,
so
son.
used to it.
Yes. I'm like, that's right, son. I am. Yes. So I mean, there is no real way to juggle all of it. Sometimes certain things have to take a back burner and other things are in the forefront.
Yeah.
But again, it all just comes with having a really, really supportive partner who picks up where I slack in certain areas. And then, other areas where I'm like really, really dominant, he's perfectly fine with kind of taking the back seat and picking up those things as well. So.
How does that work for you in terms of having do you guys ever clash in terms of ever having you have a partner that's picking up obviously where you lack and vice versa. How do you guys find a balance within your relationship having work involved? Because I know having relationships and
That's a job.
doing
Yes.
work together.
Yes. So that there's always this stigma, right, of like you never want to work with your partner,
Absolutely.
right? But funny enough, in the very beginning of our relationship, we worked together literally like when we had 9 to 5s in the same building.
Okay.
And we did such a good job of not really letting our relationship. I think like once or twice I do remember us like we were like having a problem at home and we were like straight not speaking to each other at work, like, and you could cut the tension with a knife. Like people knew like, oh yeah, they must be mad at each other. But for a very long time, people at our job didn't even realize that we were like a thing because we were able, because we're friends first, that is that part that always allows us to allow each other grace because we genuinely like each other as people, right?
That's important.
Very important, because a lot of times people come into relationships just because they have like a sexual attraction to them and finances or whatever it may be, but we really do genuinely like each other as people.
Amazing.
Right? And so I think that's what makes it easy, because we can talk about work and then we can cut on our show and watch TV and then don't say anything else about work. And also, because we've built brands around things that we genuinely love, genuinely have a passion for, it's literally not something that we're just slapping our name on. I think that's the other thing that kind of makes it, because, I mean, literally, if we both wake up, like now we have the baby, and Titan is such an angel baby that he's pretty much sleeping through the night now.
So cute.
Thank you.
You be posting him and I just be like, oh my God, my ovaries.
he's pretty much sleeping through the night now. But there were times sometimes like if the baby was crying and Mustafa heard him maybe and I didn't, and he'll need to wake me up because it's my time to feed him or whatever. We'll end up just being up in the middle of the night just talking about like work stuff just because we love it so much and we love just the work that we're doing and the people that we're helping and the conversations that we're having and just shifting the narrative. Those things are so important to us that it really doesn't even feel like work. Like it feels like we'd be having these conversations anyway if we weren't getting paid. So
What's
I
your
think
schedule like? Do you like?
Yeah, I
are
was
you
gonna ask that.
wake up in the morning 6 o'clock, take care of the kids, do my work, come back home, watch the show, go to sleep 8 o'clock?
Nope.
So it varies per day.
This is when you wake up, when you go to sleep.
I was just about this. Our day literally varies. So the only thing that is consistent is because Mustafa still does work a 9 to 5. His schedule is pretty consistent, right? But mine is very much not like that, especially now in the age of COVID, because not only do I do all of those things that you named and lead these businesses, but I'm also a homeschool mom who is from the hours of about 9 to 3. I am a homeschool teacher. I'm a guidance counselor. I'm a lunch lady. I'm a peer mediator. I'm all of those things as well as you caring for a newborn baby, like and then trying to run the businesses as well. So I think for me, it's literally like most times the night before what I'll try to do, and I'm not the best at it, but I'll try to write a to-do list of what needs to get done the next day. And then if I'm not making peanut butter and jelly or helping one of the boys log on to Zoom,
planner girl.
I am not a planner, but we are schedulers.
Okay.
Schedulers we're huge on. So we have this big dry erase calendar that has literally changed our lives, and we write everything like your podcast is up there on the calendar. I had a fitting right before this that goes on the calendar. Like any scheduled thing that needs to get done outside of the house is on the calendar so that we can make sure that we can delegate our time properly and make sure that we are crossing our T's and dotting our I's for every single thing that needs to get done.
Do you feel like he's ever dropped the ball? And like y'all been together for, you just said like
almost 9 years, yeah.
And y'all have been working together for a long time.
9 years.
It might be him. It might be that y'all, have done something with work and he'll drop or vice versa. How do y'all go about handling when things just don't go as planned? Or if someone does something that is just not beneficial to the both of y'all, or just in terms of someone doing something to you, like him doing something to you that might just make you feel away. How do you handle those things?
Well, I'm in therapy.
Oh God, I need to go to therapy.
So I'm getting better with that. But I am really critical on myself, and so which in turn sometimes makes me really critical on other things. And I think that he's really helped me to see like, while what we're doing is great, we are not curing cancer. We are not brain surgeons. We are like none of this work that we're doing is life or death for us or for anyone else. And so sometimes it's okay if things go wrong because shit is going to happen, and you have to be comfortable with that thing those things happening, because at no point is everything going to always be smooth sailing. There's always going to be some sort of a bump in the road. And so he teaches me like, Ashlee, you have to learn that it's okay to give yourself grace and grant other people that same grace that you would give yourself, right? Most people will be like, meh, at you, but then when it's themselves, they're like, oh, well, listen, I was tired, or they'll make an excuse for themselves. I'm just as hard on me as I am on other people, but I'm like, I really shouldn't be that hard on myself, and I really shouldn't be that hard on other people either, because we all make mistakes. We are all deserve some sort of grace, and I think we'll do a lot better as a culture if we give ourselves and other people some grace as well.
I agree.
I just want to know how you balance everything. And this is coming from, like, right now, like, we both had our kid, your last child is my first child, around the same time, during the pandemic thing and stuff. And I tell myself that I give myself, like, I'm grateful that the pandemic happened in a way.
Yes.
Because I'm able to stay home with my kid.
Absolutely.
Where right now I would have been rushing. I have to go back to work. And figure out where my kid's going to stay and what am I going to do. So I'm grateful. But it's just like, even me being home now with the kid is like, sometimes it's a lot.
It is a lot.
You know,
it 100% is a lot.
They require a lot.
A whole lot of
during
attention.
These early months.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just like, I look at you sometimes, just be on Instagram. I'm like, Ashlee's fucking doing it again.
Thank you. That's so
like,
sweet.
I love this girl. Like, if you have no motivation, people, like, just follow her and just figure it out. Because you are a prime example of, like, stop making excuses. You know, like, don't make excuses. You can do it.
Yeah.
You know, because sometimes with one task, it's a lot.
It's a lot.
But
No, it is.
You constantly picking up a new one. I'm like, oh, when she was bringing out the kids line, I'm like, another one.
Another one.
You know?
I mean, you know, the thing for me is, and I agree with you because, you know, in our, well, not necessarily our past life, but your past life before being a mom and me when the twins were like, you know, young but old enough that I can kind of rip and run and move around how I wanted to freely. Transparency moment. After I had the twins and Mustafa and I decided that I wasn't going to work anymore, that I was going to become an entrepreneur full time. And I had to stay home with Jetson and Nova when they were first born for the first 2 years because they couldn't go to daycare, you know, but so early. They had, I think it was like 2.5 or something like that they were taking them. So I had to dedicate like 2.5 years to being home with Jetson and Nova. And I told Mustafa, like, when that time was up, like, I still have the pictures and the video of I had the biggest smile on my face when I was dropping Jetson and Nova off at school for the first time because I was like, y'all getting out of here, okay? And I told Mustafa, I'm telling you, like, there's just this thing, like, adults need adult interaction. Like, we need, like, I was sick of watching Yo Gabba Gabba.
Yo, that Google Gaga all day.
I was sick of it, right? And so I told him, I'm like, I'm never doing this again. So I didn't close off the idea to us having other children, but I absolutely, like, I made a list, right? We didn't hit all the markers on the list, but I was like, we need a bigger apartment. We need at least $15,000 in savings, like, because I want to pay to have some help. Like, all these, like, things
Girl,
that I
had
said.
a whole list too before having my first child. And
yeah, so I had this whole list. Like, I'm never doing that.
Her list was crazy.
I bet it was, because that's Cece.
You need to say your list.
What was your list? I told him I need at least 50 grand.
I don't blame you.
I said,
you need cushion.
She said, before you put me out of commission, you need to have at least 50 grand to be able to provide me with.
And more so because of how he lives his life and how I wanted to live my life.
Right.
And I need 50 grand.
I don't blame you.
Because one,
Not
I don't want to leave my kid in a daycare.
Right.
It's scary.
Right. It is.
You know what I mean? My mother, at the time when I was thinking that I should have a kid with him, was still working. She's not working anymore, which is fine because at any given time, mom, hold it down if I have to go back to work right now.
Right.
But my list was 50 grand. living better. Like, I come from the projects, so if you're gonna get me out, get me out.
Right.
And he did that. We crossed that bridge.
He did that.
We crossed that bridge, and we're on our second apartment in Jersey.
Beautiful.
And it went from one being great to way better the second one.
Right.
And the second one is like better, bigger, because he was just like, I want my kid to have his own room.
Right.
And I'm like, we don't need to do that until a year later because the kid is going to be in our room anyway. But he's like, no, we're going to start the whole room.
Titan has never slept in our bed.
Oh, Cash sleeps with us every day.
See?
Girl,
I want to get him out of it. I want to get him out of it.
But now it's the hardest now. You literally have to be conscious and do that from the beginning. I ain't play that. That's one game I never played.
So when the baby was crying, you just let the baby cry?
No. I go in his room. I'll comfort him and I'll put him right back in his crib.
Amazing.
We don't play that.
But what if he woke up and it started crying again?
Then you go.
You just do it back and forth.
Yes.
You just keep doing it.
You have to. The thing that what see, and I get it also. It's your first, but even though I've never had that problem, no. Like, I love my kids in the whole 9 yards, but I also love comfortable sleep. I love and the thing is, the getting up and back and forth is annoying, but you don't go through that problem.
But then in the long run,
you are going to have hell to pay getting that baby out your bed. Like, hell to pay. It literally the only tip. Anytime anybody asks me like a mom hack or a mom tip, I always say, don't let your baby sleep in the bed. And I know it's tough because you want to snuggle your baby, and I do all that during the day.
Girl, I was out the other night, and it was my night.
She said at night, absolutely not.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Cash had said you could spend the night out. I got him. Girl, I took a cab to Jersey.
I don't blame you.
$100. I said I don't care. I want to sleep with my kid.
Yeah.
And maybe because I'm a first-time mom, and
this girl definitely a first-time mom thing. To come to my house, I'm like, all right, cool, we gonna have a sleepover. We got to my house. She's like, I'm taking a cab.
Yeah, it's a first-time mom thing for sure. Have another one.
I'm done. I'm one and done. I want to be
the
able.
labor she went through was crazy.
She told me. I could understand. I understand it, but I also know that what happens is he'll turn 1, he'll turn 2, and you'll forget that. You'll forget that traumatic experience, and you'll be like, maybe
I want to try again.
Yeah, like maybe we can try it again. It's happened to every single mom I know. There's not one mom every single mom that I know that now, their kids are big. They were like you up until their kids 7, 8. Now all of them, I want another baby. And their kid is big.
I don't know. I think you could take these tubes, throw them out the window, run over them, do whatever. I don't want no more.
I mean, you might be. But I feel like a few years from now, you might toy with the idea. And I promise I'm not that friend. I won't say I told you so. I won't. I'll be like, you should.
I also want to okay.
Let's plan the baby shower.
Right.
So where I'm at with it is like more so like I love watching you, and I'll be honest. I'm here. I've known you for a couple of years, and I've known you from when you were just making your bags, writing on jackets and things like that, and trying to figure it out.
You know
what I mean? Yeah. And I love how you've evolved. I absolutely love it.
Thank you so much.
So
I love that's the beauty of social media though, because people can really see that that nothing that has anything to do with me was an overnight success. And I love that because to me, that makes it more attainable. Anything that you can snap your fingers and now all of a sudden it's a thing, right? That's not real.
Yeah.
But to show the growth, to show me in the projects, like you said, painting on jackets, painting on bags, literally hand delivering orders, having 2 orders to now having whole bucket loads filled in the post office of orders. Like that's a real growth. That's a real transition that people can have watched and really have grown with you, right? That to me is more authentic, it's more beautiful, and it seems more attainable.
You know what I love also? I feel like when it comes to your brand, like I think that at this point you can create anything and it's gonna go because people like you.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
You know what I mean? It's sometimes it could be, let's say for example,
it's
I
you
create
as a
something,
brand and then it's your brand.
Yeah.
Right.
So it could be somebody that's probably as creative or more, and they create something and it's just sitting. They just have a mother load of stuff in their house.
Right.
Because you don't put yourself out there, because nobody knows who you are.
Right.
You're not free. You're not open with who you are.
Right.
You know, some people are real like snobby, where it's just like I'm not supporting you. I'm not buying from you because you're this type of person.
Right.
But you're so friendly.
Oh, thank
and
you.
you come off like so genuine. You know, from the day one.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, that's very sweet. Thank you.
You know, so it's like so people. I think people see it.
Yeah.
So. And then it's like your children are a plus. It's like, oh my God, my ovaries again. Like her kids are amazing. They're beautiful.
Girl, thank you.
You know, so it's like
that little boy.
I'm gonna support
first, but that little boy, oh my God, I'm just like,
I can't with Titan, bro.
Yeah, Titan, and then I
said I ain't want no babies for a little while, but I'm just like,
he just, and I don't know, he kind of. My husband and I, we look at him all the time and we're like, man, like he, you know,
did good.
And yeah, like in another, transparent moment, we wanted a girl, right? We wanted a daughter because my husband has no daughters. So my first child is a girl. She's 16 years old, but she grown. She finger snapping and eye rolling and that whole thing, right? But there's something about when you create a life with somebody, there's things that you guys want to create together, right? And of course I want to give him a daughter because I'd love to have another. Like baby girls are so fun. You dress them up, you go get their nails done.
For a long time I always wanted to have a boy, and recently I've just been like, oh my God, a daughter would be
right
so
like
cute.
and then if you follow my friend Tashima, her name on Instagram is Who What Wore Minnie. Baby.
Oh, yes.
Her daughters will make Cece want a daughter. Okay.
Lord.
Like,
yo, Cece's the type to go through mad baby pages. She'll send me a baby and be like, this is probably what your baby's gonna look like. Oh my God, look at their outfits. I'm like, girl.
No, Who Wore What Minnie? Let me tell you something.
Baby,
she is on point with them girls.
I am obsessed with the way that she dresses her daughters because she's a big like thrifter like me. Like she loves like vintage finds and things like that.
Amazing.
When I say the way she dresses her, right? So I'd look at look at her page, and Tashima, you have to listen to this. You're gonna die, right? So I'd look at her page and I would be like, oh my goodness, like in the beginning, like, and I'd like talk to him, and I'd be like, when you come out, we had a name for her, like, and everything. Like from the minute I peed on that stick, I was like, this is our girl. Like, this is it. We knew her name, the whole nine, a whole bit, right? So I went to, thankfully I had changed my doctor right before the pandemic happened, and I was still able to go in for all of my appointments. So this doctor that I that I went to, my prenatal physician, he specializes in like women that have like fertility issues and things like that. I didn't know that prior to meeting him. So he does genetic testing very early on.
Oh, so you were able to find
out. So I was able to find out 10 weeks.
Wow.
I knew.
What?
10 weeks, I knew. Babe, but he was like, I'm going to call you and tell you, like, you don't need to come in because they did it through blood, which is like the most
they did
official way.
With me, with Cash. I did blood work and I knew it was a boy early on.
Yeah,
okay.
So,
I wanted
and
to
then
have
how
a
old
girl
are you?
So bad.
I'm 35.
See, that's probably why. Once we hit a certain age, they're like, well, you're high risk
So
and
many,
you're this.
yes.
Yeah, it's a lot. So
I was so upset when she had a boy. I was like, I wanted you to have a girl so bad.
but a boy is perfect for her.
Well, he is.
A boy is legit perfect for her.
But you know why? Because I feel like a girl would have softened her up.
Possibly.
No, for sure.
But no, that's the thing. But
crazy.
early on. But then later on down in life, she's like, me and homegirl gonna have to fight. Like, that's what will happen. Trust me.
Yeah,
I'm
I
proof.
know.
Okay? So 10 weeks, so he calls me, so I'm home, and that's when you real sick. First trimester, you like in the thick of it or whatever. He called me. So we had this like big round like couch chair, and I was sitting in it, and the doctor called, and he was like, Ashlee, are you sitting down? Are you ready? Do you want me to tell you what the sex? So I had it on speaker because Mustafa was in the kitchen. Do you want me to tell you what it is? And he was like, it is. And he was like, right, all waiting, like all jittery, and he was like, another boy. I was like, are you serious? Like,
you cried
like a baby.
You were bawling?
Bawling. No. Like, I don't think you understand, like hype, like bawling, right? And then when I started bawling even harder, thinking about the fact that I was crying and sad, so I'm like, does my baby feel like, does he think that I don't want him now? All like a big
like, oh my
bag
God.
Of like ridiculousness. And I text a couple of my friends, like my friend Daisy, she has 2 boys. I text her and I asked her, like, how did you feel? Like, whatever. And she was like, don't feel bad. Like, don't beat yourself up. Like, it's like, trust me, like, we've all been there. Everybody, that's kind of like the dream, a boy and a girl, Yeah. And so she's like, don't beat yourself up about it or whatever. But when I got like, once we came up with his name, once we decided what we were going to name him, Titan, we fell in love with that name. And then Lee, after my dad and my sister, that's my dad's middle name and my sister's middle name. I'm like, I want to give him that middle name. I'm like, Titan Lee, that's cute. That kind of like goes together. Then I kind of felt like more in the idea, and then I started buying baby clothes, and I'm like, okay, it's not so bad. And Jetson and Nowhere really, because even they wanted a girl. Like, even they wanted a little sister. But I'm like, you know what? It's not going to be... And when I say they are obsessed with Titan, like, even me, like, we're all, like, I just look at him and I'm like, I don't even believe I wanted anything other than this perfect little baby. Yeah,
He's
right?
Perfect baby.
He is the best.
Even the way that you be, like, catching certain angles of him, and he just looks like
video the other day in the crib, and he just looks...
Yes, I'm just like, oh my God, why
it's the big eyes for me.
He just looks
it's
so...
the big eyes.
He looks so angelic. Like,
he's
like,
the
he's
best
so
thing.
unbothered.
Like an angel baby.
Honestly, he'll lay in his crib sometimes for hours. You won't hear him. Wide awake. And just lay there and look around and cool and talk to himself. And I don't take that for granted because I know that's probably not going to last too long. Soon, because he's...
But your other kids seem like they're...
But you know what? Jetson and Nova were phenomenal babies too. Phenomenal. Like,
blessed.
That's one... I don't know. Thank you. I don't know what God did down here, but this womb is done quite all right so far.
You know what I do love? Like, so you were still building and trying to find yourself when you had your twins.
Yes.
Clearly, because it's been already years.
Yeah,
I feel like now, like, you have Titan, and it's like a blessing, and he will never know.
You know what's so crazy?
He will just grow up in greatness.
So crazy. So we moved right into our new apartment, but my thing was we were about to spend an astronomical amount of money just renting like Airbnbs month to month because I did not want to bring Titan into our old apartment, into the projects, right? I just didn't want to do it. And so I ran myself ragged that last trimester. Like, I cannot, like, cried about it and everything. Like, I cannot bring him here. Like, we didn't want to bring the twins here. Like, it's 6 years later. Like, why haven't we been blessed with the space? Like, we've worked so hard. Like, I've kept my head down and been diligent. Like, all these things didn't happen. We ended up having to bring him there. We were literally about to pay like $4,000 a month for Airbnb. Just to not have to, just because I did not want him to enter that space. I wanted better for him. I wanted better for Jetson and Nova. And I wanted better for us, all of us, ultimately, right? So in around November, we got a call for the apartment that we're in now. And it's so funny that we moved in January And one of my friends was like, Titan is never going to know that place. Like when Jetson and Nova talking about like our old house, Titan's gonna be like, what the hell is the projects? Like what?
What is that?
Like what are y'all talking? Right? Like who used to live there? And it was so funny. I'm like, yo, you're right. Like he's never gonna know that place.
That's what I see with that. I'm like, that's you want better, so you always want to do better than what you had or what your parents did for you. You always want to do better. So to have another kid, and that time, especially during the pandemic, and then to move forward and be better.
Yeah.
Like, I said that to my boyfriend when I was having a kid. I'm like, I'm living with my mom in the projects. I was the last one living with her, just me and her. Not uncomfortable at all.
Right.
Just me and her. If everybody knows the space in the project is not bad in all reality.
Right, truly.
I used to want to live in the projects growing up
because
they had so much space.
So many people say that, and I'm like, you do not want to live here.
Can we move to the projects across the street? They got walk-in closets.
And she probably looking at you like you was crazy.
Girl. She's like, girl, no. I was like, but they got a closet.
With pissy elevators. Right. It comes with smoking.
It comes with a lot.
No, I know it does because I used to hang out. I lived in the midst of the projects. I just always lived in one of those buildings.
Like right by them.
Yeah, literally in the middle of all of that.
And you still consider yourself a project girl even though you're never.
Because I used to chill in the projects when my friends was a project. Right. I just lived in one of the regular buildings.
Yeah, I told my man too. I said, if we have a kid, get me out.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Get me out. And he sure did even before.
Get me out.
Let me
tell you. It was like a year before.
There's this meme that was like, or it's a reel that this girl made like from TikTok. And she was like, I hear women saying all the time, like, you can't depend on no man. You can't depend on no man. And the music got real dramatic. And she was like, no, you can't depend on yours. She was like, my man comes the fuck through. And I was like, yes, sister. Yes.
I've seen it. Look, I have been witness to it.
Do your part by all means as a woman. Always.
Absolutely.
Because you have to stand on your 2 feet. But if I'm going to have you in my life, you're my bonus.
Right.
We have to do this.
Absolutely.
But I also feel like, well, yeah, in that aspect, I feel like if you do well for yourself, eventually you're going to find the man that's going to be the counterpart that'll help you
100%.
Get to the next level. And y'all are equally, just trying to
yoked, as they say.
Right. Y'all are equally invested in moving forward and getting to the next step.
Absolutely.
What I wanted to get into was how so on top of the fact that you have these companies, you have a kid, you have a household to maintain, there is what I constantly, and I've said this in previous episodes, I constantly find the battle in keeping up with social media and the content.
That's work.
That's a lot of work. And I'm not going to lie, it's so dreadful for me because it's just like, I'm already making the content. So then on top of that, I got to do the promo. I got to do this. I got to do that. I got to keep up. I got to be on there all day, every day. How do you keep up with that and make time for it and still do everything else?
So really, I just weave that into everything else I have going on anyway. Like I don't make a separate time to like, I got to figure out something because I just weave it all into my day anyway. And I think that the beauty in that is letting people kind of see the journey and go on that ride with you, right? And it also allows a lot of our customers to give us grace because they see everything that we have going on. So while we get all our orders out in a timely manner, that's never really been a problem of ours.
You have separate pages for all of them, right?
Yeah. But for certain customers, if they'll, because people are people and sometimes people want people and they'll write something ridiculous under your, like, I ordered this 3 hours ago and why don't I have shipping? And you like, and then somebody else, I won't even have to. Somebody else would check them under, like, did you not just look at her story and see that she's, like, making lunch for her kids, trying to make Titan a bottle, put him to, like, give her a second. And I think that helps me in that respect also. So I understand some people are like, you have to, like, keep certain areas of your life private. And that's fine. Like, I don't share everything, There's this, like, point of contention that people like to keep bringing up that they don't see my daughter on social media.
I hate that
but that's none of your business.
And your daughter's also grown.
Like, what I'm going through with her is none of your business. And if I was comfortable enough with sharing what I'm going through with her, don't you think that I would?
Right.
Because I share everything else.
Exactly.
So, like, why would, like, at no point does that say, maybe there's something happening there that she can't. Or that she isn't for a reason, But
I think the unknown is why people always try to find something to speculate on.
Because what happened,
they don't see it. So it's like you could give them all of this, and all they're focused on is what they don't see.
What they don't see. And what happens is very much like what Cece said. When you're nice and you're pleasant and you're, like, nice to people, there are people in this world who literally were placed here to be wicked, right? There's no way around that. There's literally their job. The devil has placed them here through God to
work.
just be ridiculous for no other reason. Because for the life of me, I can't think or I can't fathom someone having a good life who sits at home, makes up a fake email to make a fake page to write you and say something so ridiculous or off touch, right? And think that comes from God. I don't see that happening. But what happens is when you're nice and when you're pleasant and when so many people like you, there has to be someone that feel to show you, see, she's not perfect. See, why do y'all like? And but the thing is, I never claimed to be.
Right.
I only claim to be human.
Right.
Right.
Everyone
I only claim to be trying to figure it out.
They want to.
Right. And it's because there are similarities there. We all trying to figure this thing called life out. Like I by no means am I perfect. Right. Like, I probably should have sat on it, my husband, before I left out of here, but I didn't because I had a lot of shit to do, right? I am not perfect.
I had shit to do.
Right, I'll take care of him tonight, but it's like I'm not perfect. Nobody has it all figured out. We are all just in this thing called life, trying to make it to the other side and be good human beings and raise good human beings.
Absolutely.
That's literally all we can do. In the meantime, in between time, whatever it is that you choose to do with your life, that's on you. All I know is I'm just trying to spread positivity. I'm just trying to spread love because the world needs more of it. That's why.
Absolutely.
Not because I'm perfect. Not because I don't have days where I'm fucking angry and I don't want to be bothered, right? And things like aggravate me that probably shouldn't. And I did something that probably was dumb out of anger or whatever the case may be. But right, all of us, right? But it's like, you know what? Thank God that I woke up, I lived to see another day, and I get to stab to try it again. That's all we can really ask for.
Every day you can literally take a step towards changing. Even if you did something wrong yesterday, today's a new chance to do something right.
Right?
What I had a question about too is a lot of people struggle with the aspect of when they're being stretched too thin and they have too much going on, finding time for themselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
So because you have, again, this is like the focal point of this entire conversation is the fact that you're able to manage all of these aspects of your life. When do you find time for you and how do you even go about that?
So things like this, right? This is for me, right? This is, I had like a fitting before this, and I have like, I think the one thing that I do always thank Mustafa for, as well as the other many things that I thank him for, is he knows how important me time is. Because let me tell you something, if you don't learn anything else from a man gonna take care of his motherfucking self. No matter what, okay? That is one thing that you never have to worry about a man, is a man finding time for him. Oh, he gonna find time for him, right? Even my husband being home right now with all of our children, guarantee he at least took 30 minutes to an hour for himself. And as he should. As he should. My problem is I'm on top of everything at all times. And he'll even tell me, Ashlee, sit down.
Yeah, same.
It's okay. Sit down. Like, promise you they're fine, right? I was at Mumble. I don't want them to be on their iPad too much, and I only want them to watch educational games. And I'm still on that. Like, I only allow them to watch educational shows or play educational games on their iPad. But then I don't want them to iPad to, child, you better go watch that iPad. Sometimes I ask them, like, you don't want to go watch your iPad? Right? Like, you have to find that time, even if it's little bits and pieces throughout the day. And sometimes, and traveling is also another thing of mine. I pick up and travel in a heartbeat.
Girl, me
like,
too. I'm upset. All right, I'm booking a ticket tomorrow.
Pack me a little bag. Like a couple weeks ago, I went to, and I was just initially only going to go for the day. I went to go see my friend Chris. She lives in Delaware. I was recording her podcast. We ended up having a ball. I stayed all day. She was going to do a shoot for our other friend Daisy in Virginia. I was talking to Mo about it in text. He's like, you should stay so that you can go with them tomorrow. I said, oh, that's what the fuck I'm talking about. I stayed, right? Stayed in Delaware. I ended up Virginia the whole next day. I basically was going like the weekend.
Yeah,
I came back like real late, real late Saturday night. I left Friday morning and came back. So basically got back Sunday morning. Like, you have to find those times and those moments and those things for yourself. Sometimes it's in the bathroom, shower. You do
that's me.
Take a shower, wash your hair, do like your skin routine. Like, you have to make those times for those things for yourself, and often, because you'll burn out. You will burn. Even if it's something like this morning, we had a nice like hot cup of tea before I got out. Like even that, like calm and just standing and talking to each other in the kitchen while the kids are on Zoom and the babies sleep. Like just those moments are so necessary. And if we, you know, we have to make sure that we always tell women, don't feel guilty for those times. Like even you now, first time mom away from your baby, don't feel guilty for it.
Yeah, I'm like, after this, I'm like going home.
Don't feel but see, I was gonna say after this, go get a drink. Like,
I know.
Don't feel guilty.
He texted me.
I need one.
See?
He texted me. He said, if you want to go get a drink after the podcast, he's like, it's cool. I'll see you later. And I'm like,
so my thing with them, it's never him. It's her.
Always us.
It's her.
It's always us.
Because he's very much like, you enjoy yourself. Go have fun. You know, you with your friend. You doing something for yourself. You know, you're on the podcast. You're doing shit.
Right.
Enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
The baby's still gonna be there.
I promise you. You have him literally for the rest of your life. Like, tell yourself that often.
Look, she's stretching.
Look, she's scratching.
I'm like,
right, like a crackhead. She like, I need my.
Because when I was at dinner the other night, we went to dinner. It was a cousin of mine's birthday, so she did a dinner. So we go, and I'm sitting there, and you know, naturally now everybody's always on their phone. So I posted a picture of him and the baby. So they look at me like, "That's what you're thinking of right now? You're at dinner."
I said that. I'm like, "Yo, you're sitting right next to me. You posted
like,
this 3 minutes. This is what you're thinking about. They're home. You're gonna see them." In a little second.
Yeah.
You don't even got to worry about where they're going to be. Are they going to be there?
But it's all fresh. It's all new. A year from now, this will not be your tune. And it's okay. It's okay. And what I always want you to remember is give yourself that time. It's necessary. That baby, I promise you, he's not going anywhere. Watch come school time, you're going to be like, where's this book bag? Bring me your lunch. You're going to be so, but again, it's brand new. You carried the baby in your 10 months, you know what I mean? Like it's natural. It's normal. It'll start to wear off. When he's snatching stuff and throwing stuff and smacking and hitting and running, you're going to be like, you're going to be like, Grandma, he's coming over for the weekend.
That's what I'm saying. I know that. I'm the one that take care of people's kids.
Yeah.
What I want to know with you and Mustafa, like, do you think that you would have been wearing these many hats without the support?
Absolutely not. There's no way I could do it. There's absolutely no way that I could do it.
If you had, just to like wrap things up, if you had any advice to give to anyone trying to basically, you know, get ahead and pursue their entrepreneurial like life and maintain a relationship, what would your advice be?
Probably two things. Make sure that he supports you. He or she supports you without a doubt. And the second thing is go for it. Never think that any idea that you have, any dream that you have, or anything is too small. Somebody somewhere is looking for that idea that you have in your brain. Somebody somewhere is looking for it. Somebody somewhere needs it. And you being the gatekeeper to your ideas and not putting it out into this world is actually doing the world a disservice. So those would be my 2 points of advice that I would give to anybody.
That's good because that's how I am. Like I have all these ideas in my head. She's like, girl, do it.
All the time, girl.
Do it. And I'm like, oh no, how about this?
I be throwing her ideas like, hey, so because you like this and you like this, maybe you should do this and do this and do that.
But I think right now I'm like so consumed with my child. Like I am literally obsessed with my kid. Like I don't mind my 24 hours being with him, right? But it's like I have to get into the mentality like his life has to be better.
Right.
I have to do more for him, not just myself. You know, like it's no longer about having an odd job.
Right.
Like I have to figure it out.
Yeah. And what's going to happen.
You have the potential to do it too.
100% have the potential. And his life is not going to revolve around you. And if you keep that mentality, you will be devastated. Because he's going to be like, bye, Ma. Like, I'm going with my friends. I'm going with this. I'm going to school. Like, and you'd be devastated.
Yeah.
You have to have those things that keep you grounded outside of him or else you're really not going to know what to do with. It's like those couples. They stay together for 20 years for the kid. Kid grow up, graduate, go off to college, and now these two strangers staring at each other like, so what are we doing here? Another one like, what you doing here? And you're like, well, I live here. And he's like, well, should I live here? And yeah, they just literally trying to figure it out. Like you have got to, like I always say, and again, you're a new mom, you're a first time mom. So this may not resonate with you or like sit well with you, but you have to put yourself first. You have to, because you cannot pour from an empty cup.
Absolutely.
You can't pour from a half full cup. You can't be the best Cece for cash if Cece is not okay.
Yeah.
If Cece is not good.
into consideration.
Yeah.
Starting today.
Yeah.
Well, y'all, this is episode 5 of What's the 9 to 5
so
with
much for
Ashlee
having
Muhammed.
me.
It was
Thank you.
amazing. We might need to have a part 2.
I was about to say, I feel like I want to come back. We ain't talk about sneakers.
Girl, I'm telling you, there's so many things to talk about. Make sure y'all tune in.
Thank you.
Later, y'all.
Bye, guys.